Hi there. Today we are going to batch make some of these mini junk journals that sold really well at my last craft fair. So anyway, I'm not always very good at batch making because I like to stop and decorate, but I'm going to do my best. So I'll do a little walkthrough here of this, and these are 4 inches by 6 inches. Sometimes I like to put little pockets in and make some tags for that. Now, every single one of these vary completely. With here, I took some salt wash and paint and made some snow. I also took an embossing stamp, and then I also stamped that little pine cone there and used some ink on. I used some ink on that. That's what I wanted to come back and show you. And then so I put stickers on. This is wrapping paper from Amazon, cute little wrapping paper. This came from a catalog, like a Christmas catalog, a vintage one, obviously. We've got some pattern paper there. This is Amazon paper, and it's a packing paper that comes with your Amazon boxes, and I actually tried to copy stain it, but it didn't copy stain very well. It just ended up kind of wrinkled, so I don't think I'll be doing that again, but I do like to use it in there. Then I take these little envelopes and make pockets out of them. There's a belly band. I found this fabulous cookbook at the Goodwill bins, and I just tear the pages out of that. There's the other side of that envelope, and then it makes nice pockets for tags. Now, for this small of a junk journal, it really only fits about 8 pages. And like I said, I vary every one of them. And I usually end up making them full anyway, and so then I put a little clip on it, which kind of adds to it too. So I start off with these file folders, and I cut them down to 8 inches by 6 inches. That's how we get our 4 by 8 once we fold it in half. And I also add this copy paper that I have copy stained, and I like to make sure it's going to fit inside of my folder without sticking out too much, and they look like they will. So then I use these golden book pages, and those will actually have to cut down a little bit or tear down a little bit. This is the wrapping paper that I told you about that I get from Amazon. It's not much at all, and they're just really cute little papers. Then these are the doilies, just plain white doilies I got that I copy stained. And this is the Amazon papers I had told you about, and for these, I went ahead and made a stamp collage out of these are mostly my Iron Orchid design stamps. And I just kind of randomly, I put them on the plastic sheet and then just randomly stamp, so it kind of looks like a stamp collage. And I did it in reds and greens and purples. And then I use book pages when possible. This was Deck the Halls, a vintage Christmas book. I've also got the envelopes that I told you I use, and you can use any size envelope as long as it fits within your book. And then I trimmed off the bottom edge. I trimmed the bottom edge so that you can make another tag insert. Look at what I found. So I wanted to show you what I found at the Goodwill bins. This is such an incredible find, an old vintage book. And look at the images. They just crack me up. How awesome are they? I'm going to be stingy with these, though. It's going to be hard for me to put these in junk journals, even though they're adorable. It's just so funny. And then we've got the catalog I was telling you about. And I actually just got that catalog on Amazon as well. And it's like an old Christmas catalog. It has some really cool pages. And then these are just random. I think I got them from Temu scrapbook pages. Here's the butterwick pattern that I got and I cut down. Now we'll get busy folding our little folder covers, as you can see, file folder covers, and I'm going to round the edges where any of those are squared off, like that one. And I use my bone folder to get a nice crisp edge. And again, this batch making is going to save me time. I just struggle with it because I want to stop and decorate as I go. Does anyone else, are you all good at batch making, or how do you do with that? I forgot to say that I'm making 11 here. So I have 11 covers and I am going to ink the edges. I'm out of my favorite distress ink, which is vintage photo, but I have this walnut stain one that's pretty good too. It's just a little darker than I usually like, but I think it'll look good on these. So I'll just do a couple here to show you. I think you all know how to ink the edges. And I fold it the other way. It gives you more support when you have you have a thicker space. Not quite as flimsy there. And I just go around all the edges. So I'll go ahead and do the rest off camera and then come back. Now we have all of our edges inked, and I forgot to tell you that we're going to make 11 of these. And now that that part's completed, we can go ahead and start assembling our signatures. So I start off with my coffee stained paper that I have cut down to fit just inside of my folders. So our folder is our cover, and we want this to fit inside without sticking out of the edges. And so now we know that's our template for all the other pages. They can go slightly over either side, but we don't want them to be too far over or they're going to stick out too much. And now our spine is very thin, so we can't do more than about 8 pages. That's about all this will hold. Now that's the wrapping paper from Amazon. You could fold it directly in half, but I kind of like to make it smaller on one side than the other. Let's make sure it's still going to fit in our cover without going over, but I think it will. So I'm going to trim some down, and you can just play that by ear. I did in later ones, I actually used one of my Creative Memories punches to punch edges on that wrapping paper. I wish I had done it for them all. You'll see when I do the final walkthrough of all of them. And then I tore those Golden Book images down to size and inked those edges. And then we're going to add our butterwick pattern. And I love the texture of the pattern paper in there. And now this is that catalog from Amazon. We've got our envelope, and you want to fold it so that the flap's down. You cut a little slit at the top if you want to add extra tags. You got your little pocket there and pocket at the top. Now I take my little doily and put that in the center. This is kind of the order I like to put mine in, but you can put them in any order, and you can vary it between the different junk journals that you make. They're all very unique. And I think that's part of the charm. And then people can select which one they really like. You want to make sure that center one. So I make my holes, I do 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom instead of the 3 pamphlet stitch. And you'll see we'll get into that and be doing that. So you just want to go through, make sure they're where you want them. And that's looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and burnish the edges there to make a nice crease. And I'm just going through to make sure I've got them exactly where I want them. And then I take these jumbo paper clips, and I got those from Amazon, and I just hold everything in place like that. Now you don't have to have those jumbo clamps. You can do regular clamps or hold them all together the best way you can. And then I take this little template I made, and I do 1/2 inch from the bottom and then 1.5 inches up. That's my 2 different holes. So in other words, at the top, it goes down 1/2 inch, and then and then 1.5 inches. And then at the bottom, you go up 1/2 inch, and then 1.5 inches. So I just take my awl, and I go ahead and start the holes, so I know where I want them. And I just keep this template and use it over and over again. And you really can do your holes however you want. You could do the 3 pamphlet stitch. I just like for these, I like to use my ribbon. All right, and now that we've got that together, I take my Crop-A-Dowel on the 1/8 setting. You could use your regular hole punch, but that's going to be 3/16, and I like to make it as small a hole as possible. And then I go through where my awl showed me where those marks were. I mean, you could potentially, just do it straight with your Crop-A-Dowel, and you wouldn't have to use the awl, but I like to use the awl, then take that little template away, and then use my Crop-A-Dowel. And we see that our 2 holes do grab our doily there. So then I take my ribbon. I like to use the crinkle ribbon. You can really use anything you like. Sometimes it's very difficult to get those through, as you can see here. So a little trick is take some glue, put the glue on your finger, and then twist, and it makes a nice stiff point. And then you can go through. And I go from the front and then through the inside, and then just tie nice tight bow there. And then you're going to clip, of course, that little glue piece you're going to clip off, and then clip the other tail off. And that's all you really need to hold that. And then we'll just do it with the other side. I'm thinking it looks like that part might come through, and it does. I lucked out on that one. I didn't need to use the glue. Oh, okay, I changed my mind. You want to go through this end, then that way we see how much we need. You know what I mean? We're not going to tie in the center, so we want to end up on the outside so we know how much we need there. Otherwise, you'd have to take the other end through, if that makes sense. Just go ahead and do your little tie, and voila, you've got your book bound. You can take your clips off. I am going to batch make all of these, which means I would go ahead at this point and make all 11 exactly like I did right there. Put your signature together and do that for all 11 of them. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to decorate this one, the most fun part. These papers I got, it's a junk journal book. It's Stamperia, which I love Stamperia. I got it from scrapbooking.com, and I just love these papers. So we're going to use this. Look at that stencil I got with it. It came with the large one, the small one, and then it had ephemera with it. It had die cuts and regular ephemera, like chipboard. Aren't these papers just beautiful? There's some stickers there, some tags. Little kitty cat, I love my kitties. We've got tags, journaling cards. It's so thick. See, I thought there was 2 pages there. That could almost be our cover. In fact, that's what I use for my cover. So, and then those are stickers too. You've got your little sayings. Love that one. You'll see I do use that in one of them. These are little punch outs and they're reverse. So whichever side you want them to be on, you can reverse them. Or you can use them. Actually, I tucked one down in a pocket, and then, whoever buys the mini junk journal can use it however they want. So I decide on this tree for our cover. It fits just perfectly. We can still see our inked edges. And now I'm going to go ahead around with some of my red distress ink. Just kind of gives it a little pop since we had the cream color there. Makes it stand out really nice. Now I decided to blend it a little bit because it was so red. Now, the way I like to attach these is I use my Creative Memories repositional tape, and then I go ahead, my tape runner, and then I go ahead and put my Barely Art glue around the edges, just to hold those edges down. Isn't that pretty? We'll go ahead and cut some things out to add. Got a little title there for on our cover. Ink up the edges some. And we got our title. It says Merry Christmas. Now I like to always put paper on the front and back cover and on the inside of the front and back cover. It's just the way I like to do it. We're going to use that, and they have a little bit of journaling room on there. These are going to be for sale in my Etsy shop, most of them. Some of them I'm probably going to use as door prizes for my upcoming crop, but yeah, these will be on sale in Etsy, and then what's left I'll take to my craft fair. Oh, my little kitty. I think I decided to save my kitty. I like to layer a little bit. Play around with some layers. And I decided to settle on that. And one little tip, I can remember that positioning pretty well, but you can always take a photo if you have everything set up exactly the way you want it and you're afraid to move them. I just put like a little bit of glue down to hold it where I knew I wanted it. You can always take a picture and then refer back to that. I think that looks good. gotta go put some glue down on the other side. And you can make these as elaborate or as plain as you like. One other idea, if you're planning on selling them, you could make them fairly plain and add like a bag of goodies, like some ephemera so they could decorate them themselves. Now I'm going to use one of these clear stickers, and I don't know if you know this trick. You put Scotch tape on them because they're so hard to peel apart, but if you put Scotch tape, especially on the front of it, they pull right apart. And I think, so on these, I like to add things. Sometimes I do stamping. Sometimes I do a stencil pattern with ink. You could paint if you really wanted to get elaborate. Ink around the edges some. A lot of times I like to wait until I see what color I might want to ink them based on how I'm decorating them. So I like that red on there. The little edge was up some. So I'm just looking to see what we can decorate with. The fun part. Let's get our tags, some nice pretty tags. And I love this eyelash yarn. It's just so whimsy. It just seems to flow. Wispy, I meant. It's just so wispy. Whimsical and wispy. Well, as often happens when you're recording, my battery died and I actually did the cover, and now we'll come back and finish decorating this. So I'm using these IOD stamps. Love this little deer one, and I just go ahead and put it on this little plastic backing. So that's where we had left off, if you remember. The only thing I decorated was the cover. And so we're going to take the Memento ink, and you want to just ink your stamp, and then you can test it. There's a paper towel. I'm just going to test it and see how that looks. And that looks pretty good for a paper towel. So I think we'll have pretty good coverage. I'm going to go ahead and put some more ink on there. And then you just want to make sure there's no stray ink around the edges. It'll show up on your paper. And I love how these stamps have been turning out on this pattern paper. Wait till you see it. It is so cool. So I just put it down and kind of go over. You don't want to move it once you're going over it. And look how adorable, and you can see it on both sides. So that was a nice, fun discovery. And then we left off here where I had inked the edges and then put that tag in. So now we are going to use this stencil. And I'm going to use my red ink and stencil around there. So I'll just put my paper towel down so it doesn't get where we don't want it to get. Now I use the red, the Distress ink. This is Lumberjack Red. It's Ranger brand. I love those inks. You just want to make sure you hold your stencil nice and tight so it doesn't wiggle around. And voila! We have a little pattern on there. We'll put our tag back in, and we'll make a tag for inside the top of the envelope. So I think I want a bigger one. That's what I was saying there. And what I do for my tags, if I don't have ones from my papers that actually fit, I can take those tags that I just showed you and use them as a template and cut around it. But these have some pretty good tags in them, so I think that will work. Here's a pretty one. A lot of the work's done for us there. I'm going to ink those white edges a little bit. And if we have our ribbon on there, that'll stick up nice. Back to my eyelash yarn. There we go. Need something on there. This nice huge poinsettia sticker that just fits right on there. Isn't that pretty? And I like to stamp in the center sometimes. This dream stamp, I won this. It was a door prize at one of the crops I attended, and it's been great. It came with 3 other stamps in a package. Vintage stamps, and I get a lot of use out of this one especially. We gotta do something there. I decided to do the stencil again. I forgot to put my paper towel down, so I'm just going carefully to make sure I stay within the envelope space. And voila! And sometimes I will put papers inside that flap to cover the brown of the envelope to decorate it up. So I just want to go ahead and measure the size there and cut it down even smaller. So go ahead and put that inside there. Ink the edges a little bit more. Felt like that flap needed a little bit of decorating there too. Now we're just going to add some tags. I want to dress that one up just a smidge in there. Some holly and berries. This one. Well, I went to make a hole, now I remember, and it was going to go through the wording on both of those, so I changed my mind. I thought I better get another one. I didn't want to go through the title. There we go. So that one works. I like the music. So now I'm going to do some more stamping. I got this Iron Orchid Design stamp that has a calendar, and so you can arrange the calendar however you want. So I made a December calendar for some of these pages. You can build it however you want. I thought about putting that little topper on there, but when I measured it, it's just going to fit on there, so that's not going to work. So we'll go ahead and put some red ink on here. And the nice thing about the red, it really shows up. You can see where it's inked. Oh, my edges aren't straight there. Fiddling with that, and then I took some of the ink off with my finger. Went over it again. Ta-da! I love that. All right, so I'll let that dry, and then mostly, there goes the tags. We just need to put some paper on the back cover and the inside of the back cover. Let's put a little bit of ribbon on here. I cut these pieces for the inside of the back cover and then up the back cover. A bit extra there. Back. Walkthrough of our mini junk journal. And there we have it. Now I'm going to show you all the rest that I batch made. So we'll go through and just do like a quick little walkthrough. See just how varied they are. Little charms on that one. There's my punch that I did a lot of those, and I wish I'd have done it on all of them. I could go back and do them all. I probably will. Got those little deer paper clips, reindeer. Another tag there. Little rocking horse with a little boy on it. Little vellum pocket I made and then tuck some tags in there. So that was pretty good for someone who doesn't like to batch work. So I have 3 more to decorate. But anyway, thank you for watching. Please make sure you subscribe, comment, like my videos. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.